Jared.
Hey everybody, we are back for another great episode of What's When Men Talk.
Man, you might want to listen.
That's what's up. So, black on black crime, or has the media heavily influenced us to believe that we are predators against our own humanity? Is there a direct correlation between what we've been taught, the way we've been raised? What's going on with Black America?
Yo, Black America. Black Unity desegregated schools. Black Unity developed the Montgomery bus boycott, the Southern sit-in at the Woolworths lunch counter. It produced freedom riders. It powered the civil rights movement. But on the flip side of that, Black Unity did produce some genocide to have 117 gang members in one city and be in a position to where people are leaving a funeral and 15 funerals are shot by a drive-by shooting. Where are we, fellas?
Yeah, I was talking to some individuals, and because of Black History Month, and we're kind of reflecting on our lives and where we've been and where we're going. And somebody brought up that they think we were better off during segregation than we are now because of the same topic that we're talking about. They feel, and I felt remiss and kind of saddened in my heart that I could not argue effectively that it possibly was not right, that we are not taking full advantage of what we got within our own community to celebrate, because we're spending too much time through no fault of our own dealing with what we're doing to each other and what we're not doing for each other. What do you think, Charles?
I think it's a mix of a couple of different things because we don't support each other in the Black community when we do it. And then when something tragic happens in our community, what do? We pull up all the bad facts of why that's happening. And that's not a time to really jump on the backs of the things that we're doing wrong. Because at that time we need to be unified. We need to stand together and things is going wrong. I was down at some of the rallies, some of the things that were going on when George Floyd happened. And it was good to see the whole country kind of come together and really be unified because they was able to sit there and see at one moment the craziness that was going on in our country. But there were still people, Black folks, people of color, that were going against each other for no reason. This was time for us to be together. And it's all about timing. It's all about when we actually want to stand up for the stuff that we're doing. And I think it's not good when we take these times in our country when things are going wrong to then jump on. Well, there's still, why are you protesting for this when there's still Black on Black crime? Why are you still protesting for this when Black folks are still rioting? Why are you still protesting for this? That's not the time for that conversation. The time for the conversation is outside of when we have police brutality. When we have people getting killed who are doing nothing, who are in their cars, who are going to their homes with a sandwich for getting Skittles, and they're getting killed for no reason. That's not a time for us to pick on each other.
You know what? So here's my take about it. We always discuss this topic amongst ourselves, and we hear it in the media, Black on Black crime. Is this a learned behavior? You know what I'm saying? Is it really a learned behavior? Is it something that we always or allow other people to always point the finger at us and we point the finger at ourselves? Let's go back and look at, our history of America. Let's go back and look at that. Let's go back and look at Henry Kissinger. Okay. Let's go back and look at how he completely destroyed South America. Let's go back and look at, how drugs got into our neighborhoods. We, at the time when crack hit, like the 80s, let's go back and look at, the manifestos of ownership. We didn't own planes. We didn't own boats and yachts to bring that amount of cocaine into the United States. Okay. And specifically to African American neighborhoods. Okay. What do we fight over? What do we kill over? We fight over money and guns and drugs. Well, who brought it into the country? Okay. We didn't own tankers and 16 wheelers and 18 wheelers. At most, most of us don't even have a passport to get out of the country. You dig what I'm saying? So how you know, a lot of these scenarios that are put forth, you know what I'm saying, are indicative not upon us, but I think we need to start looking elsewhere.
But Sunday, let me challenge you in this respect right here. When somebody gets pulled over and you see a person of color get shot for no reason, then what the big narrative is, they shouldn't have resisted. They shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. Is that justified for them losing their life? That's what I think we're
No.
talking about when we're saying the narrative. Are we together or are we disenfranchised?
No, that's not black on black crime. That's more so a defund the police type of deal. You know, we can sit and talk about whether, you know, the police need to be trained, et cetera, et cetera. No, they don't. Dylan Roof got a hamburger. Most of us get a bullet or jail time or lengthy jail times. Go back and look at the Netflix series 13. It's a beautiful documentary. Ava DuVernay, I'm butchering her name. Go back and look at that. I mean, it breaks it down specifically. Look at our presidents. Okay, how many of them own slaves? You dig what I'm saying? So you are constantly embedded. Well, you are constantly embedded with this type of mentality. You know what I'm saying? This type of aggression over and over and over, and it's embedded into you. So why would you not come out like that? Why would you not be aggressive if you don't have a first hand on anything? You dig what I'm saying?
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that's not the topic. The topic is, what are we doing to each other? And why are we so afraid to talk about that specifically without bringing in the other factors that we do know exist and that we are talking about? But what we don't talk about is how, when we are doing what we do to one another.
I'm not going to believe the narrative that black on black crime is specifically a black on black gas problem.
What?
I don't believe that at all. I do not believe that at all.
I'm gonna say this as it relates to that. People kill people that they're in close proximity to. So blacks being in close proximity to blacks, we kill each other just as whites in close proximity with whites kill each other. I was gonna go make a point. Jared said something earlier about the integration, and I've had that conversation with people as well. Greenwood, you know, we're talking about Black Wall Street at the time, so that lets you know what we can do when we come together and we're united. With that, until that, you know, that massacre happened, we were in a position to where we had Black Wall Street. We had the richest Negro street on Auburn Avenue in the 50s. You know what I mean? But when integration came in, I say the integration was one of the worst things that happened to blacks, because what it did, it pulled those people who were leaders out of the community to go to other places. I mean, we are a tribal people. So when you have leadership, when you have people who were doctors and lawyers and people who was just innately individuals that could lead, leaving and saying, you know what, I can go out here to Lenox, or I can go to Alpharetta, or I can go to Buckhead, or whatever it may be, then you put the ones that are in a position that needed that leadership there. And then when you are in a position to where your finances are struggling, you're gonna eat. Whatever that may be, your hustle is going to be to eat. So it's one of those things to where it's two sides of the coin. We have to recognize the problems that upon ourselves, but at the same time, my wife and I was just talking about this, like how we reach a certain plateau, we don't reach back down sometimes, and then sometimes when we do reach back down, the people that you're trying to reach back to help be the first ones to bite you.
So how important is the conversation though? Because you know, we all do.
Very important.
I agree. We all do mentoring to one form or another, right? And we recognize when we are talking to our young brothers and sisters that the ones that they're hurting, not that they should be hurting other people, but the ones that they're hurting are people that look like them. That's a reality. Now, I do talk to some young brothers. They say, you know, there's no such thing as black on black crime. Crime is crime. And I feel that, I get that. But if we're going to go a step further, deeper into how we are successful as a people, we have to address how we should not be taking our people out. We should not be robbing our own people. We should not be cutting our own people off and not supporting our own people, because it's counterproductive.
Ooh, Jared, you getting something started, brother, man. That's why they got to tune in, Because when men talk,
you might want to listen. Hey, everybody. You got to tune in next week because we're going to have a real interesting conversation. Remember when you used to date before you met you met that one and only, or even for some of us who ain't married? The question is, do you tell them the truth or do you tell them what you think they want to hear? Come back next week. We're going to have that conversation.
let's go.